Jonesy and Amanda.
Jam Nation.
Well, after 14 years of friendship, Lisa and Sarah were as close as friends as they could be. But after 8 long years of trying for a baby, 18 rounds of IVF, gee, I know what those years are like, Lisa and her husband had just about given up the idea of expanding their family until Sarah came to her with a life-changing offer, the baby that they'd longed for. Sarah Megginson and Lisa Messenger have written a book about this called The Power of Two, and they join us now. Sarah and Lisa, hello.
Hello, ladies.
Good morning.
Hello. So, surrogacy isn't legal in Australia, which just astounds me. So the only way you can have a baby like this is if someone like you steps up. Am I right about that, Sarah?
Yeah, that's right. It's called altruistic surrogacy. So commercial surrogacy, where any money changes hands, that's illegal in Australia. But altruistic surrogacy, where you do it out of, the goodness of your heart, that is allowed. But only about 120 of those scenarios happen in Australia each year because it's pretty tricky to find someone who can do that for you.
And you guys are pretty close, but it must have been hard, Sarah, when you were carrying that little baby because you would have maternal instincts. And also for Lisa, you would have been thinking, what if Sarah suddenly decides, I want to have this, I want to keep the baby?
I mean, I think there's so much trust. I'd say, Lisa.
There's so much trust and I think lots of communication. Sarah and I have known each other since 2011, so we'd had a pretty strong friendship by the time it came about to us being pregnant.
So, Sarah, you had children of your own. How did you explain to them what was going on?
We were really lucky because they were old enough to understand. So they were all in primary school and high school. So I was able to explain to them really clearly that I was going to get pregnant, but they weren't getting a sibling. And it was really great. They were really part of the experience and they fully understood that our friends really wanted a baby and that we were going to be part of the link in the chain that helped them start their family. So they were really supportive, really involved. Even my 12-year-old daughter was there for the implantation day. So they were involved every step of the way.
And Lisa, how did you feel? Did you have natural feelings of kind of jealousy that Sarah was carrying the baby? How did? And I assume this is an embryo. Was it your egg and your husband's sperm together?
Well, all of that we talk about in our book, but I wasn't jealous at all, Amanda, because I'd been trying for a baby for 8 years. So I'd been through 16 rounds of IVF myself before Sarah tried for me. So I was just thrilled, and honestly, it was the most exciting way to have a baby. It was like having your best girlfriend by your side, and every single day we were either FaceTiming or we were together in person at every single scan, or we were calling each other or DMing each other. So no, it was extraordinary and I could not fault the entire experience.
And how did the men in your life go with this?
Well, they've been extraordinarily supportive, but sometimes my hubby Stephen feels on the outer. He's like, I feel like it's your and Sarah's baby. We just had such fun together, but they've been really, really special. And to be honest, it's Stephen's fault a little bit. He hates social media, whereas Sarah and I have kind of been sharing our story from the rooftops to help other people.
And as you say, so few people go about it this way because how hard it must be. How do you feel about this being offered a financial service? Why aren't we like the States where this can be regulated?
There's a couple of things there. I feel like Sarah and I are in each other's heads and we're probably going to say very similar things. Look, I think it's great in a way that, it's so regulated, but also there's huge downfalls around that. It's very prohibitive. There's so much paperwork. In fact, today, Hugo's almost 16 months old and we still don't have a legal birth certificate or a Medicare card for him ourselves. So there's so much red tape, so much bureaucracy, so many hoops to jump through. So while some of it should be regulated, so, it's not just open slather, I think there's a lot of things that could jump into 2024.
Because you'd think that the government would be on top of this. Your story's been around everywhere. So who's dragging the chain on this?
Lots
I
of
think
people,
the fact that there's not a lot of demand there for it within the government, the fact that there's only 120 of these a year, it just becomes such a low priority for them. They're prioritising based on need and they just don't see the need there. And we see this a lot with a lot of areas of fertility and Medicare rebates. Even that was something, because I was a surrogate, there were different rebates that Lisa and Stephen could claim. They couldn't get as much back from the government because it wasn't their own fertility process. And I think things like that really need a bit of attention because it just makes it so prohibitive.
Oh, I've got a friend who has a child through surrogacy, and they went to the States where it was so regulated, so straightforward, so taken care of. I just saw a very different side of it and this wonderful family that's been created because of it. I don't know why we can't just make this easier for people.
Yeah, agree. It's a lot. I mean, in the US, it's very expensive because, it's a pay-to-play situation. And as Sarah said, it's altruistic in Australia. And we don't take it lightly that we've been in a fortunate financial position that we could go through so many rounds of IVF and then do this. And I'm acutely aware that there are a lot of people out there who can't even afford one round of IVF. So I think also some of the barriers to entry and some government support and things around this, because it affects so many people, infertility or struggling. So I would like to see some regulatory changes and support there from the government for sure.
Well, it's a case of it working, and little Hugo, look at him go, although when he turns into a teenager, will you be handing him back to Sarah?
Oh my gosh. I mean, hello, Toddlerville. He's the cutest thing, but it's like, before breakfast, and there's 27 different ways he's tried to maim himself or the cat or the dog or some wall or something in the house already. He's adorable, but my gosh, he's wild.
Well, I think it's a great story, ladies. The Power of Two is at all bookstores now. Sarah, Lisa, thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much,
Thank
Jonesy
you.
and Amanda.